I think it was on the last day of the year, 31st of December, when Nigerians were planning for crossover night services all over the country. That we heard that Peter Obi had joined the ADC, officially leaving the Labour Party. And so now the whole focus now is on whether or not the ADC can stand up as like a counterweight to like the growing or expanding structure that the APC has. I don't know why the two of them chose those names like APC ADC. Like it sounds so similar. Sometimes you may I hope that nobody gets confused with it, especially on the ballot box. So but then like how did you take in the news of like Peter Obi basically on the last day of the year just deciding to move from Labour Party to ADC, and like what do you think would be like the net result? Because I think now people are saying, oh, will Atiku step down from running and support Peter Obi? And Atiku was saying no, he has no plans whatsoever at the moment to step down. And there are some brewing, factional politics that seems to be happening in the party already. Right. So, but basically, how did you take in the news? And what about the timing? What do you think about the timing? Like, why did he choose 31st of December? I mean, to me, it looks like a very peculiar time to decide to announce such a thing. So, yeah, what was your perspective about it?
Well, to me about the timing, I don't feel there's much. I don't feel there's much to the timing for me. I feel it was what he was always going to do. I felt like
But,
maybe he already had some people in the Labour Party that probably under like the maybe that wanted to run for governorship elections, and he didn't want to abandon them at that moment. So he was probably waiting till the end of the year when he knows that he has rounded up whatever it is he has to do with the Labour Party before he leaves. But that one was already obvious, probably from the middle of the year or even early 2025. That he was going
yeah,
to.
but I think, yeah, but then, like, the ADC had been formed already. You have people like Atiku that had already like moved into the party. David Mark, I think El Rufai to an extent is also associated with the party.
Yeah, El Rufai,
So
Aregbe,
yeah,
Bola, like yeah, many of them.
exactly. So there are a whole lot of like what people may call prominent politicians there already, and then Peter Obi had been like aligning with them closely, but nothing official yet. And that just happened for like so many months that it started to look like okay, maybe he wasn't even sure he was going to join the party. Maybe there were too many cons that outweigh the pros in joining the party. So maybe he was reconsidering his option. So, but then to me, I felt like it was a bit of I would say I was surprised, but a lot of people had started writing it off, and then to just see it suddenly being made, like it was a bit of a unexpected event.
That maybe that's for you, Sha. I mean, I was not surprised because even when they like did like I won't even say the launch because the party has been there already. The
Yeah.
ADC has been there for a while. That was the party that Kingsley Moghalu tried to contest under before he was rigged out in 2023. So he was rigged out in the primary. So it's sort of like it's sort of a known party per se, like among the smaller parties. It's sort of known. It's not like you don't know it at all. So, and I guess the reason they did that was they didn't want to have any sort of issues where you can manipulate the law, like maybe they go and form a party like APC, the way they did in 2013, and then they wait till a crucial moment, and then maybe one judge will now strike out based on some technicalities that oh you can't form a new party at this time or blah blah blah, things like that. So I feel that's why they chose the ADC, and they looked at probably some other things like is there any strong um like legal case going on in the party? Are they disputing any chairmanship? And the ADC
Mm.
guys just opened up the door for them. So I was not surprised. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Like I knew it was coming. It's just like Gbadebo that was a candidate in Lagos had already joined, and some other people. I think they even many of the people that held seats that did not decamp from Labour Party like after the elections, the ones that still remain, many of them have they already crossing. So and now most of them have. I think the only person left is OT, and he's playing a what I say like a sensible political move for me because come on, you move into the ADC. It's very easy in today's Nigeria for the president and his people to start putting pressure on you. So it's better he just stays in Labour Party and he does his thing, and whatever happens, he can now decide to move or not.
So, but then do you think like the ADC is a step in the right direction? Like joining the ADC is a step in the right direction for Peter Obi? Or would it have been better if he consolidated his base like with Labour Party away from any sort of like internal politics or political rumbles that could happen in the ADC? Like I think we're already seeing stuff like Atiku, already planning to contest on the platform of the ADC. And there's a lot of back and forth now with some members of the ADC whether or not he should consider running or you should leave it for Peter Obi. And he came out clearly to say that he's not considering dropping out of the presidential race through the ADC by any means and all of that, but he's willing to speak with Obi. So like that whole stuff of like too many greedy politicians already present now. So how exactly are you going to deal with that more? But I mean, it seems starting to look like PDP, the later stages of the PDP. You understand where you have articles still planning to contest and lobby and all of that. Like how exactly would that play out?
I feel like this time it's like what else do you want to do? I feel like they will have to just go to the ballot box, or even before that they will sort of read the room and agree which politician they are going to support and all of that, so that the vote doesn't even get split internally. Like Obi might contest, might, or he might sort of do it in a way that he'll stand in as maybe as a vice, or he's going to back article. Like for me, I just feel like personally, I really don't believe much in it. Like coalition is needed, yes, but what's the principle behind the coalition? And another thing I'll say, like in my own opinion, I don't think I don't think Nigeria elections can really remove a person like Bola Tinubu. For me, I just feel like he has captured this institution so bad. Like he has pushed the power of the presidency to the limit, like to the max. Like that a Nigerian president can be very powerful. Just the way Obasanjo did it then. Like you just know that look, this guy can lose. If he loses it's because maybe everybody like joins hands to like chase him out. And I don't mean
Mm.
politically, I mean like the Nigerian people. Like maybe there are 3 million people running towards Asu Rock and you enter his helicopter. Maybe that's the way he lives. But politically, like trying to think that there's going to be one coalition, and then there will now be some sort of massive number of votes. These guys are skilled at these things. Like if it's from appointing the INEC chairman that they feel will give them the right will I say the right process to
Yeah.
finding technicalities, and then the election itself, they know how they are going to make sure that in a particular stronghold, as many people do not vote. I've said it many times, like in 2023, the major rigging was not the like say the changing of results, or the thugs pursuing people from the polling units. Yes, that was part of it. The major rigging to me was not even all the stuff they were complaining about INEC. The major rigging for me is the organized exclusion of voters. Like making sure that in a stronghold of, maybe if you know your opponent potentially can get 1 million votes from somewhere, you try as much as possible to make sure that only 300,000 people are able to vote, so that you've cut his margin. That is the rigging for me. Like, and I saw it happen in so many polling units and wards in my own local government. In fact, I'm not even talking about in other places, like you have for example, I said it many times, the polling unit that was next to me, by the time they shared tags, there were 850 people supposed to vote. You understand? 850 people. The last person
Yeah.
having the tag was number 850. Now, INEC came by 1:30, and they came with 300 ballot papers. Do you understand? They purposely came with 300 ballot papers so that you are going to exclude at least 500 people from voting. Do you understand? So those names, you will
Mm.
never even know that, okay, what you are just going to see is that, okay, so party scored 200 votes
Turnout.
in.
Yeah.
Yes. So you've already cut out that voter turnout, and out of maybe a possible, like, just even you look at it, like last election had like some of the highest registration numbers. You saw all the interest, all the ginger, everything, and then he now had like the lowest number of votes. How?
Mm.
How? Like, is either every vote that happened before was so badly rigged, or you just made sure that people couldn't even vote, and then the few that vote, you can now hack the numbers from there. Because if 50 million people vote, it's very difficult for you to do any manipulation. But if 20 million people vote, is much more easy. You understand? So I just
Yeah.
feel like those are the patterns they use. Like, I'm sorry I'm taking long, but like INEC will come late purposely to a polling unit. Like, they will make sure you disenfranchise as much people as possible. Like, they will do that and then come with few ballot papers, and then delay the process. They will make everything look slow. Bro, before you know it, is 8 p.m. and only like 40 people have voted, or 50 people. That's how you just make the whole thing like look. And then in your own stronghold, you just see that the process is just going so smoothly. Like,
Yeah.
so I just feel that's what happened. Many places in the southeast, for example, where Labour Party was strong, they did something like this. Like, and I don't know why 4,000 people will be named in a polling unit. How many people are able to vote? 4,000 people will be named in a polling unit, and then at the end of the day, only 300 people are able to vote just because of the difficulty in the logistics. And 3,700 people have been excluded. So so no matter no matter the percentage of your win, you can win by 98% there. But because of that number of people that couldn't even vote, your margin has been cut. So they know how to do things like this, and then when you now get to where manipulation of numbers and all of that.
Yeah,
So
so I think I understand your point of how the political system feels captured. I think we've always talked about the problem with we've always talked about the problem with electoral autocracies. And although I won't really categorize Nigeria as an electoral autocracy right now because we still have like change of hands, but it's more of like a systemic democratic um, or systemic electoral autocracy. Yeah, but in the sense that the system remains the same, but there is an election and there are change of the face of the system basically, but the whole system still remains intact. So something of that nature, I think that's what I would kind of put Nigeria. It's more of like it's not fully an electoral autocracy yet. It's more of like moving towards that direction if things are not carefully um, set back on track. So, but then overall, even though yeah, like I feel you have every right to lose trust in the electoral system of the country. But I still, at least I think I'm sure you agree that I still a step in the right direction for having the ADC. Because I mean, look at what is happening with the PDP currently. Like they've lost pretty much. I think now they have just about 7 or 8 states left
is it
under
up
their
to
control.
7? I don't think it's up to 7. He looks like 3 or 4.
Is it? No, it's not that bad now. They still
Up to
control.
7.
Um, they control Adamawa. They control
Bauchi.
Bauchi.
Yes.
Yeah, they control
Zamfara.
Benue. Oh, they still control Benue. They
No.
don't control Benue again. Sorry, they control Zamfara. Yeah,
Yes. And
they
Oyo.
control. They control Oyo. Yeah. Then there's also they also control I forgot the name of these states. I'll confirm that for you right now. I know it's only Enugu and it's Enugu Rivers, Enugu Rivers
No. There's
that pivoted
De-
to the
Delta also
APC.
has Delta moved month earlier.
But Delta has been
That's
a
the
while, sha. Delta has been in APC for quite a while
Yeah.
now, compared to the
Bayelsa,
others.
same thing. Bayelsa is APC now. Bayelsa, like Bayelsa, that they only know one party. Like that, I don't know. I don't think PDP has up to 7. If it's still up to 7, I'll be sure. Like
No, I
I
checked
would
it
be
before. I
really
checked
shocked.
it before.
I'll be really shocked.
Let me confirm that now. Mm, so you said there are four, Abi.
Yeah.
Omo, you are right.
That's what I'm saying. That's that I that that
I was still counting seven. Um, that means they were very recent other ones because wait,
Yeah.
Was Kirby always a this thing? Kirby was a this thing now. It was a PDP state.
Yeah, but Kebbi has been APC for a while. Like I think
Okay, I
since
think in
Buhari.
2023 APC won. Okay, Kogi also turned to APC in 2024.
No, No, Kogi has been in APC. Yaya Bello has been in APC like for a long time now.
No, I
So
mean the okay, yeah, correct anyway, but I mean the new person that I'm saying there. But anyway, let me keep checking that. Nasarawa is APC. Okay, Ondo. Okay, okay. OPC has been in Ondo anyway. Oshun, Oshun,
yeah,
Oshun
he
is the
moved,
one that is.
to
It's
Accord.
Oshun that caused that problem. This guy
Yeah,
has pivoted. Adeleke.
yeah, yeah, to Accord.
Okay, he moved to Accord. No
Yeah.
wonder. I was just like, it's not four is a very poor number. Like
Very,
that's
very
crazy.
poor, bro. For what was like a giant party, like even even Wike is now even desperate. Like he wants to impeach. He's trying to impeach the governor for moving
Fubara.
to. Yeah,
But why is it like I don't even know what his game plan is right now, and I think that's why he's clashing with the APC national secretary
so
because
much.
Fubara has like played a sort of like a fast one on him in the sense that he moved to APC. So now
Yeah.
it's like when you are attacking the APC governor, automatically he's going to have much more backing now in the sense that he's part of APC. So they are going to come against Wiki, and Wiki has not fully declared himself as a member of APC. But obviously his actions indicate that he's closely aligned with President Tinubu at the very least and APC at most. So like when you have those sort of juxtaposition, now he's fighting with Fubara again for personal reasons anyway. But ultimately, like he's going to put him on a collision course with like the party itself, and we're already seeing that happen. So, but then we are going back to the discussion. I think like it's good that at least we have some people have a party like ADC that is coming on board now to sort of at least give some sense of democratic opposition to what the APC have currently. Because I mean, we can't continue like this. Nigeria is slowly becoming a one-party state, and that's unhealthy for the nation. At least, I mean, even if you're going to be a one-party state, you shouldn't be at this point in your national course of history, right? Like, you shouldn't be at this point. Like, imagine like there's nobody to challenge. It's part of all the killings, all the kidnappings, all the insecurity and everything. There's nobody to challenge the current government. Then that's a huge problem for the country.
That, that's
So,
that
I mean, I support it.
that's actually bad. That like, come on. Do you know how bad it is? Do you know how bad things are? Like, bro, they can raid a local government and kill 300 people today, and nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah,
Like, they will just,
that's been
bro,
normalized.
the Pope talked about the killings in Benue State before Bola Tinubu. Do you know how bad that somebody in the Vatican, far away, far away in the Vatican, spoke about killings before you did, and then you even said you were going to meet those people, and you did not meet them. You just went to. You said you were going to Yewata. You stopped at Makodi, and they hosted like a grand dinner for. That's like, come on now. You said you couldn't go because of bad road, bro. Man, and
I
then they
mean, like
brought,
that's just a slap on your face.
bro. They now brought children, kept them under the rain to wave for you, and then what was supposed to even be like a meeting of concern, they were hosting like a dinner and welcoming you like you were coming
Yeah,
for the
yeah. Welcome
national
party.
award. I mean, all these sort of things are happening, and there is no challenge. To me, I just feel like maybe we have not recovered from 2023. Like in almost every election cycle I know, by this is 2026 now. In
Mm,
2018, I had already more or less left what the 2015 elections felt like. Same way in
mm,
2022, mentally. I had already left the 2019 elections. I was geared up towards something else. But as at today in 2026, my mind is like as fresh as it is where that 2023 election is. Like it still feels like it happened maybe some months ago. That's how it looks in my head. I don't know if it's like that for other people, but I feel that's the mental picture that most people have, and they are not just ready to confront what they faced, because that enthusiasm, that ginger, that whole like, you know, from the young people, and the bubble just burst. Like it burst so bad. So I don't know if they are ready to mentally and physically
So,
put
well, I
in
think
that
I think
energy.
I don't know. I feel like people had people had too much expectations for 2023, and me, for someone that has been in like, or that has been observing the political cycle, I didn't really feel like 2023 was going to be the year that suddenly we'll vote in the best candidates and Nigeria will just be transformed and everything will be kumbaya from there. Like, I don't know. I mean, I supported Peter Obi. I voted for him, you understand? But like, my mind was never really about do or die for 2023. My mind was just finally the political consciousness of Nigerians will, at least in my generation, was awoken. Like, that was the most political conscious I've seen many people be, and it was a good
Yeah.
thing. But where the problem I had now was people were having a do or die mindset about it, like as if this is the end. Like, if we don't do this one this time, because I'm just like, bro, that's not how politics work. Politics is a long term game. Politics is a long term game. That's just the truth. I mean, even Tinubu, look at Tinubu of today. Tinubu, he had always had presidential ambitions since the time of Abacha. He had to leave the country as an exile. Or rather, he was exiled from the country, right? When Abacha, closed down all sort of political associations and all of that. He left the country. Then, eventually, when Abacha died, everybody was like, "Oh, thank God, democracy is back." He came back into the country. He like asked some people joined the AD. Then from there, the ACN then took up, structure. Then from ACN, ultimately onto what we have as APC and all of that. It took him about 25 or 30 years to get to this position. I mean, at a point in time, he had to allow Buhari, that was in 2015, to come in and contest, based on the whole informal regional structure of the political system and all of that. So this guy spent like 30 years building this stuff. Obviously, his intentions are wrong and, well, selfish for the most part. So, I mean, that's quite obvious. But at least you can commend the tenacity that it takes to have a vision for 30 years and keep on working towards it up until this point in time. Even when it was opposition with Obasanjo, and Obasanjo was trying to decimate the party and, was withholding funds from Lagos State. I mean, at a point in time, all of these states that are APC, they were PDP controlled states. You understand? They were PDP controlled states. Tinubu likely only controlled like Lagos. That was like the only ACN, mainstay. Even in the southwest, all the others were PDP. At least for the most part. I think it was only one SDP state that was also existing. So it took time, and so the mistake that I think a lot of Nigerians made, particularly young Nigerians, is that we were too sold out in the moment, right? That ultimately, when reality came knocking, it's crushed a lot of people's expectations and hope, and they just sort of became disillusioned. But me, I don't really feel that way. I'm still, I understand like it's going to be a long term game, and I feel like the mistake that I have with, or the issue I have with Peter Obi, is the fact that he is too focused on the election than the system, and that's the
Yeah.
mistake he's making. Now look at Tinubu. Look at Tinubu, for example. When Tinubu stopped being governor of Lagos State, he was not focused on even though yeah, he had the back of his mind to become president, everybody knew that Jagaban would become president one day and all of that. But he was willing to play the long term game for the system. So he started by building ACN. Before you know it, ACN or AD rather, he broke out from AD. They took over from power from AD. Then they became like the dogmatic power in Lagos State, obviously. Then before you know that, they started moving more and more, gaining more ground in the southwest. So they took over Ogun State, Ondo, Ekiti, and the likes. Then before more and more, then APC was now founded. Then more and more states adopted APC as well. So that was like there was a natural progression of the system. Then even allowed Buhari to run in his own, even though he could have decided that he wants to run at that point in time, but he realized that okay, the political game he may need to wait 8 years and allow Buhari to run to satisfy the northern bloc and all of that. And ultimately now he's the president. So he was not now juxtapose that with what Peter Obi is doing. Peter Obi, he was in Labour Party, and I remember I was saying this thing like in 2024 that he has to own the party, and if he can't own the party, then he needs to look for another party. Like he has a movement already, so he needs to look for another party that he can own, right? In quotes, the same way Tinubu, sort of took over AD, Alliance for Democracy, and owned it, and eventually it has metamorphosed to ACN and now APC. So he needs to own that system and allow. Now he may not end up. I mean, I would be good if he becomes president, but whether or not he ends up becoming president, if he's able to build a system that allows for a future president to come out of it, then I think that's his name will be immortalized in Nigerian politics, right? Not that you just now he had issues with Labour Party, he has defected to ADC. In ADC now, the same politicians that people were spewing out from their mouth, people like Atiku, El Rufai, now you're having to rub body with them again. I mean, this was something that at least Tinubu had the the you know pardon the expression, but the purity of ambition, right, to cut off a lot of people. So he could have postured to Obasanjo, he could have postured to there was this other prominent PDP person in Lagos State. I can't remember his name now.
Bode,
Is it is it Bode? Is it Bode?
Bode
I
George.
can't remember. Bode George, yeah. So you could have postured with that guy. At that time, PDP were hegemony. They were dominant at that time. You know how it was now. They were even much more dominant than this APC, in my own opinion. So nobody thought PDP was ever going to leave power, but I mean, he stayed the blunt game, and it eventually worked in his favor, even though the intentions could have been wrong and all of that. But that's what I expect from Peter Obi, and unfortunately, he's just acting like a regular politician. He doesn't realize that he has a movement behind him, and he's not effectively using that movement to create a system because momentum is temporary, but systems, yeah, they will last like eternally, right?
Yeah,
So he just has to. I don't know. Like I feel so disappointed. I feel he wasted. He's still wasting such a golden opportunity to build a sustainable system. And maybe he's just interested in running. Maybe he feels like it's too cumbersome to start building a structure, a political system, and all of that. But that's at least the one parting gift that I feel he can give all Nigerians, especially young Nigerians. Just create a system for others to thrive in, like a political system. And I think if he can do that, 100%, posterity will judge him fairly. So yeah, but what's your own perspective about it? Like about Peter Obi's game plan in
yeah,
the long and
yeah,
short term, especially with this ADC movement.
yeah. I think sometimes to like I blame him a lot for how he handled some things, but on another part, I see I see his perspective if he's running based on the principles that he was espousing. Like you you can't. claim to be like maybe like you're honest, frugal, all those things. You want to try and be clean, and then you now want to play the sort of godfather politics in Labour Party that Tinubu did in APC or in AC and ACN. That's like you're going to be dirty. Like everybody has always known that Tinubu is a dirty politician. You understand? Now Peter Obi
Mm,
is not like you won't say he's the cleanest. There's no really clean politician. But in
mm,
comparison, the perspective or perception that you have of them, like you can see it. So but for you to own the party, you have to play a lot of like dirty politics. It's easier when you have the your movement all well and good, but there's a lot that comes with it. Another thing that I would say aided Tinubu as he played that godfather politics was funding. See, like there's a limit to what somebody can Peter Obi like Peter Obi can do, especially in terms of funding. But Tinubu had like the Lagos state money to build. If he was in any other state, I don't know if he would have been able to put that much money behind this thing. And um in comparison, Obi like left power like left governorship long before he started like this whole movement thing. And when he left governorship, he left and left it like completely. He didn't try to stay and own maybe Anambra State now the way Tinubu tried to do like in Lagos. He just left it, tried to go like maybe national, like I've done my work, let me move on. Tinubu is not that kind of person. He tried to like grab the party so that whenever it comes to like access to like manpower, resources, all those things, he's able to get it. And he's from Lagos, like by far the richest state in the country. So it makes it much more easier and you have much more leverage. And that thing too I'll say is while the PDP as at that time, I won't lie, they were quite brutal. They were quite brutal. I think Obasanjo maybe I don't know if because he didn't want to do it or because of the institutions of that time, he did not just maybe finish off Tinubu and Lagos State. Maybe Tinubu too like was very dogged in the fight, but I feel like he didn't push it to the max. Maybe to give the perception that okay, there's still democracy. Do you understand? But I don't think the APC are willing to like they are very okay clearing out every single opposition in every single state. So I feel like there's a lot of difference to it. And Peter Obi, I don't know if he feels that he has time to build the party when he thinks he can contest. Maybe if he loses like maybe like the primary, or like he loses like the presidency this time around, maybe he might feel like okay, the next time I might be like in my 70s, let me start building. Maybe he can now do that, but he feels like this is like the right time. And compared to compared to then compared to then Nigeria has never really been good, if we are being honest. But at least in Tinubu's time when he was building all these things, you never felt like Nigeria was dying. Do you get there's this perception now that Nigeria is dying. So I don't even know if there is enough time to build this thing before this country collapses. It just feels like it has to happen now. It has to happen now. I might be wrong, but that's how me I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like everything that we are, I feel maybe to me anyway, my perception is that it is most of all this sense or pseudo sense of urgency is from social media, right? Like, yes, obviously, things have gotten very bad in terms of security, insecurity, and the likes. But I don't think it is in a stage where it is hopeless to build systems. I just don't see how that is like a viable stuff because at the end of the day, I mean, look at what he's doing now. He's coming to ADC. The politicians in ADC, they are building the system. This David Mark, that is now the national chairman and all of that, and the entire board, they are building a system to take on the APC. You understand? So at the end of the day, you are still going to need systems. You can't keep on relying on momentum to win elections. It's not just sustainable. Systems are what are required. And he had the opportunity. That's where I feel more. Listen, like I expected him to have utilized the period since 2023 up until 2026. That's 3 years. I expected him to have utilized that period much more productively than what he has done so far. Like what he has done so far is just going around the country, visiting this person, visiting that person, which is not bad. But the priority should have been consolidate the obedient movement.
Yeah,
You had
yeah,
the momentum. You could have
yeah,
decided that okay, let's build this structure, let's build this movement. Even if it's not going to be in the shape of a party, you can look for any other smaller party, liars with the leadership. Give them some strong non-negotiable points, and they can have some negotiable points as well with them. And from there own it as okay, this is now going to be like the mainstay of the Labour Party. This is what we stand for. These are the policies we push. You have some prominent figures as well that will come in that are sort of they can at least swing voters to your side and are clean as well and trust in the ideology. That way you are building a structure. So if you have started that kind of thing since 2023, utilize the momentum that you had. Obviously the momentum now is much more lower than what was in 2023. So but at least if you utilize that momentum, by now you still have a stable structure in place. It may not be like perfectly developed, but at least you have something moving into 2027 elections. But now there's really nothing. It's at the hands of the ADC. So the ADC now they are going to host delegates. And so I still feel anyway, I may be wrong, but it's my perception that the sort of corruption that was been happening in Labour Party that happened in PDP will most likely still find its way down to that ADC because the party is no it doesn't belong to Peter Obi.
no, that
So
one
you
is
have
going.
Atiku contesting.
That
Yeah, you
one
have
is
people like Atiku contesting, El Rufai and the likes. Do you think they are going
yeah,
to somehow be? I don't know, Sha, but I'm not making an accusation, but it's
yeah,
unlikely that.
yeah, yeah. I get you. I get you. Like
Yeah,
even if he gets the ticket and all of that, like he won't even be able to run on that sort of like
exactly.
moral high
You make
ground
so
that
many compromises. You have to make a
yes,
lot of
yes.
compromise.
He can't run
So
on that moral high ground that he ran on like the first time.
exactly.
All of that.
Yeah.
But
So I think to me, he has wasted these 3 years. Like I expected much more from him. There is no consolidation of the movement. Everything is still just based on momentum. And come
yes,
on, man, you can't keep relying on momentum.
yes. And though I feel like, as I've said, funding is a huge part of it, and
Obi,
it's not.
I don't think funding is the issue like that. The kind of momentum Peter Obi had, it would have been it would have been very easy to raise funds.
It's not
It would have
that
been very
easy.
both from Nigerians living in Nigeria to even Nigerians in diaspora. You would have found it much more easy to raise funds. Now, obviously, there are ways you can cut costs. Obviously, you're going to have to cut costs. You're going to have to bootstrap because you don't have the kind of money that APC has. Obviously,
Yeah,
nobody's saying you're going to get that kind of money. But I mean, this guy won. This guy won. What was how many million votes did he even get? He won basically in Benue State. He won in Lagos State. APC stronghold, the one in Lagos, freaking Lagos State, without how much money the Labour Party have. Like actually, I feel like you're underestimating the sort of momentum that he had. The momentum he had is such that even finances were not, they were not, it was not as strong as a limiting factor as you make it. Obviously it was going to be a problem, but not as much as you make it seem. That kind of momentum, it could crush even the problem or limitations of finance.
Wow.
So he had that thing on grabs, on grabs, and the momentum was going to cover up for, the relative lack of funds as compared to the APC and all of that. So yeah, sometimes you have to play to your own leverage. Tinubu didn't have that kind of momentum. When he was starting in ACN, he only had it in Lagos. Even in Lagos State, he didn't really have it. I mean, it was Fashola would literally have lost the election if not that this guy was assassinated. What was his name again? Um,
Funshaw
Funshaw
Williams.
Williams. Yeah, Fashola would have lost. Everybody knew Funshaw Williams was likely going to win that election.
Yeah.
Fashola would have lost the election. So it's not as if Tinubu had that. Tinubu never had that sort of momentum. He didn't have even the money, the finances. PDP had much more money than ACN as at that time. Even though AD had Lagos State and all of that. But that's what I'm just trying to say. Like sometimes, like your whatever things you're able to leverage can be enough. The fact that he was able to come that close to Tinubu and to Atiku, in spite of all the funds that they have, in spite of all the structures that they had, they were able to defeat Tinubu in Lagos State, in Benue State, even in Adamawa, he was a very high contender. Like you saw, and that was in Labour Party, by the way, which was like, very, very minimal, or was in a minimal state before he joined it. So, like, I mean, if you're able to achieve that much within such a short period of time just by bootstrapping, I don't really see how you now keep on saying, oh, funding, funding. Like, leverage your resources, your leverage like the advantages that you have basically. And he just has not done that so far. I mean, now he's at the mercy of the ADC, and if he loses
Well,
2027, like, I don't know, I really don't know
I don't,
if the
I don't,
momentum will be able to move past
I
that.
don't, I don't think he's going to. Personally, I don't think he's going to win the 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 ticket for me. That's my own personal opinion.
I mean, I feel
Oh.
he has a high chance of winning the ticket though, but um,
I don't, I don't think so for
I
me.
don't know
But
if even if he wins the ticket, I don't know if they'll be able to rally around him, the likes of Atiku and the likes. Like, I mean, like really rally around him. I don't know
I
that, but
feel
let's see how it goes though.
it depends on how he wins. I feel it depends on how he wins too. Like, but because there's literally no other like option or choice. So Nigerian politics you can never see because some of the people now that are in that party they can always dial Tinubu or his cronies and go and meet them at the back and say, man, sorry, let's come back to the APC and continue
Now,
things that.
obviously, I mean, I feel like APC has moles in every other party, so
No, that one is
it's only a matter of time before, unfortunately, it's only a matter of time before we start seeing those kind of factional politics
that
like
one is
becoming
going to
more and more
no,
prominent
no,
in
that one is going to
ADC.
happen. That one is going to happen. But what me I'll still say, like in this sort of politics, like it's easy to rally people around for the short term the way he did. Then like all everything happened within the space of like 8 months. It's very easy to do that with that sort of optimism, like okay, a new government is coming in, like Buhari is leaving, so let's see how we can get this thing. But the manner in which he lost and the way the elections went, first of all, you already have a host of people that they don't believe in Nigerian politics. So they just believe that whatever he's building, there is only one end result. That's what a lot of people believe.